So I just watched a little bit of a Bronze GM Thor 100% win rate video by a content creator on YouTube who does a lot of these types of videos with different characters. I believe his name is Awkward. And there's a couple things in it that I just wanted to point out, and one to just make a quick correction.
Gives me a weight leaning automatically, and basically I kill the person that did the sphere, because what most people don't realize about the sphere of Thor is that the sphere actually slows enemies in the sphere.
Lightning Realm does not slow things in it, it slows them when they leave it. So pretty big important detail there. It does not slow things in the circle, it only slows them as they leave the circle, and does 40 damage when they leave the circle. Now that's obviously not as common knowledge as I know as a Thor main, because it doesn't actually tell you that on the ability screen for whatever reason. It doesn't mention it at all. It just says you restored the Thor force based on how many are in there. It doesn't mention the damage or the slow at all, but it does on the website. So the other thing is that he, like every other person that tries to make casual content about Thor, makes the same mistake about hammer throw as everybody else and downplays it as kind of a shit ranged ability that you can do the one cancel with, which is that one.
The right click itself, you throw a hammer pretty far, it comes back, it does damage. This ability is not so great. I could not come up with any interesting ways of using it. So when should you use it? It's actually pretty simple. When you don't need to engage or disengage, you're attacking somebody, you want to burst them down. Between the shots, you can do this, and this creates kind of an animation cancel, which does a lot of damage. So I'm going to demonstrate again. In between your hits, at the end of your hit, you throw a hammer, and you continue, and basically it does burst damage. If somebody's like half HP, you can burst them pretty fast and basically kill them really, really quickly.
That's true. That is the most commonly used usage of hammer throw. Is just that one little basic there damage combo, and it's good. Like it's decent burst. There's two more advanced versions of cancels on Thor that are better than that one. They all use the same concept. The first one, the one that I just showed, is actually just primary hammer throw. You animation cancel the melee into the hammer throw. If you're right up on them, it does the 70 damage of the hammer throw, but you don't get the 30 return damage or whatever it is. So the way that hammer throw works is actually if you do it like this, and then you angle yourself around them on the way back, it does 30 on the way back. But if you hit them with it directly, it does 70 and just comes back. So. See there. So right now she's at 205. You can tell because the long ticks are 100s. In case you didn't know it either. So here's the first and better cancel with the hammer throw. It's actually primary, hammer throw, and then another primary. But the way to do it best is to actually use your whatever your bind is for melee. So mine is V like normal. So the reason that you do this is because it looks like this. It paid really close attention to my resources. I've got 3 Thor Force right now. Here's what it looks like on the normal cancel. You go down 1 and then you swing another hammer and you get it back. That's what it looks like on the more advanced cancel. I immediately have it back. I never did another melee technically. One never came out. But there's a ghost melee that happens when you do your primary right click and then manual bind, all pretty much like there is an order to it. It does have to be left click, right click, and then manual, or if you're really, really good at clicking, you could do left click, right click, left click, but it's much harder to do that than to just do the 3 simultaneously like that. Now, why is that useful? Because in the other cancel, you were going to swing anyway and do a little bit more damage and get it back. That's where the second most advanced cancel comes in. There's 2 reasons that the one that I'm doing is more useful. First of all, on a moving target, that ghost melee that doesn't come out, if it wouldn't have hit the target, you don't get it back. So even though it never actually comes out, for it to refund the Thor Force, it would have had to have hit the target, so you have to be moving with it. If it wouldn't have, you actually don't get it back until it comes out for real. So timing on it's a little tricky. Now, why is that useful? Because it actually does give you extra damage to just do the regular melee. Aside from the time that it takes, there's the second more advanced combo, which is this one. And I never see anybody use this. Now, technically, the game doesn't want you to do that. And what that was the primary, secondary, manual melee into an awakened rune. Now, normally, you shouldn't be able to do that, because watch my cooldowns on the bottom right. Hammer throw puts everything on a 2-second global cooldown. Actually, all your abilities put everything else on a 2-second global cooldown. Hammer throw does it. That does it. So, how was I able to just do that? Well, for whatever reason, when you do the advanced cancel, and you get that third rune refunded instantly, there's a fraction of a second where the game doesn't yet put your awakening rune on cooldown. And if you, like, the timing on it's pretty tight. I've gotten pretty good at it. It will take you time to get used to. But there's a way to basically trick the game into thinking that you still got full Thor force and you're still able to do awakening rune while the game thinks that melee is the last thing that you've done. And you can burn stuff down super quick with it. It's one of the fastest bursts of DPS I think I've seen in the game, aside from, especially on a tank, aside from your your 3 Groot wall setups and stuff like that. So very useful. Now, the nice thing about this is, like, let's say I mess up the timing on it somehow. Worst case scenario, you're still just doing the combo that you were already going to do anyway. Who cares? There's no downside to trying it. Aside from, pressing the extra button. There's no downside to trying it. If you fail it, whatever. And if you fail the awakening rune timing, so like let's say I hit that, but still get this late, it's still just the regular 2-second global cooldown anyway. There's no downside for messing up the timing. So, when people talk about hammer throw and they say, well, hammer throw is bad because it's like a throw and it never hits and doesn't do that much if they're far away, and you should focus on things that are close to you and you should save it for surge and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't count on things close up to you because it's free. You lose nothing by doing it except for putting everything on the 2-second global cooldown, but you can also skip the 2-second global cooldown for awakening rune. It doesn't matter at all. I've tried some other stuff with this. I've tried to see if I could do this into, like, surge. Doesn't work. Don't know why. Oh. That was weird. Anyway, back to the point of the video. Yeah, that cancel into awakening rune. Obviously the game doesn't intend for you to do that. I don't know that it'll be patched because it's pretty hard to pull off in a real game anyway. Given that it rolls you back for the surge, though, I'm pretty sure that they don't actually want you to do the awakening rune either. So I don't know how much longer you'll be able to take advantage of that. It's clearly not intended. But it's great burst. It's hard to hit on moving targets. Best case scenarios for doing that is going to be stuff that's slept, stuff that's frozen. It's going to be your bigger body targets, your tanks and whatnot. Anything running away from you, you're going to have a hard time doing it on because, like I said, that melee needs to have been going to hit for it to work. It did work that time because these guys are slow, but that time it didn't, and it was the exact same key combination. So if it doesn't work, worst case scenario, you just go into your regular rotation. It doesn't really matter. When it does work, things just melt to death. So there you go. Anyway, as you all start playing Thor and picking this up and making this more popular, I'm sure it'll get patched out, so I don't even know why I'm posting this video. I probably shouldn't. I do take advantage of this a lot. Actually, it's really good on Thing, especially, because the thing about Thing, here's the thing, is that when he pushes the front line and left shifts you can't surge him. The surge is a movement ability. You're stopped from doing it. So if a Yancey Street charges you and puts down his little circle of bullshit, hammer throw is actually one of the only options you do have to do any decent damage to him and to build up your bonus health in the meantime. And getting that extra hammer back to move straight into your awakening rune is actually really useful on him because it pressures him and pushes him right back into the front line immediately. That's the other thing. If you mess up the timing by doing the rune too early, it's still really not that bad either, especially against like single target stuff. I will say you don't want to get stuck in rune state in a group necessarily because it takes away your ability to surge out. You can't surge while you're in rune state. So Definitely not intended. But it is unknown tech that a lot of people don't seem to use. So I'll throw it out there. I am risking it getting patched, I guess, but fuck it. Whatever. Have fun. Go crazy. I'm already GM. I don't care. You'll do whatever you want with it. Take care. Have a good one.